welcome on board Qatar Airways. As you find your seats, we ask that you place larger items in the overhead compartments and lighter sized belongings, including duty-free bags and liquids under the seat in front of you. Our cabin crew are available to assist. Thank you.
Bahrain ground.
Crew, all customers on board.
Requesting the end of pushback.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all of our customers on board now. Please do keep your seatbelt fastened at all times, even if we have the seatbelt sign switched off. I'll speak to you again prior to our descent. I'll update you on the arrival time and the weather. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable and welcome aboard.
From ground staff, the aircraft is now ready for departure. We request all ground personnel to please kindly disembark the aircraft. Also requesting all customers to please take your assigned seats now in preparation of closing of blast doors for departure. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm your cabin senior. On behalf of Qatar Airways,
Welcome aboard this Qatar Airways flight. Please pay attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. For your comfort and safety, we operate a non-smoking policy on board all our aircraft. Smoking in the toilet will activate a smoke alarm, and tampering with the smoke detector is a criminal offence. The exits and walkways must be kept clear of baggage at all times. Baggage should be securely stowed in the overhead compartment or under the seat in front of you. For safety reasons, with the exception of handheld pegs in flight mode, the use of electronic devices is not permitted for takeoff and landing. These devices must remain switched off until you are advised by your cabin crew. Please fasten your seatbelt for takeoff and landing, and whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. To unfasten, lift the flap and pull the ends apart. If you plan to switch during the flight, please make sure your seatbelt is fastened until your the cabin environment is carefully controlled. If oxygen is required, masks will appear from above you, or you may be required to release the mask by pulling on the coloured flag marked "Pull." Pulling the mask towards you will activate the oxygen supply. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, adjust the band to secure it, and breathe normally. When your mask is fitted correctly, you may assist others. In the unlikely event of an emergency landing, please adopt a brace position as shown on the screen. Your life jacket is either beside or underneath your seat. When instructed by the crew, remove it from its container and pull it over your head. Bring the cape around your waist and fasten in front, pulling firmly to secure. Only inflate your life jacket when you are leaving the aircraft by pulling the two red toggles sharply downwards. You can also inflate or top up the life jacket by blowing into the mouthpiece. The life jacket has a whistle to attract attention, and a light that will automatically illuminate when in water. Infant life jackets will be distributed by the cabin crew. Please take a moment to locate the emergency exit nearest to your seat. The emergency exits are clearly marked and are located as shown on the screen. Escape path lighting will guide you to the emergency exit. In case of emergency landing on water, the evacuation slide will serve as raft. Please remember to remove footwear before using the slide. To remind yourself of the safety aspects of this aircraft, please read the safety card which is in your seat pocket. And if you have any questions, our cabin crew will be happy to help. To help the cabin crew with final
Bahrain
preparations
Tower,
for
Qatari
takeoff,
112 at runway 30 right, ready for departure to the west.
your window blind is open,
Qatari 112 wing 30,
your tech cable is fully
departure to the west approach. Cleared for takeoff runway 30 right.
and enjoy your flight with Qatar
Cleared
Airways.
for takeoff runway 30 right, Qatari 1123.
112 tree, continue for west departure.
Bahrain Tower, Qatari 112 tree, continue for west departure.
Qatari 112 tree, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Bahrain Tower, Qatari 112 tree, frequency change. Bahrain approach Qatari 112 tree is type Airbus A20N 5 miles west of Bahrain 1,800 feet. Request flight following.
Qatari 112 tree, Bahrain approach. Squawk 0025.
Squawk 0025, Qatari 112 tree.
Qatari 112 tree, radar contact 6 miles southwest of Bahrain, 2,000 feet. Altimeter 29.44.
Roger, Qatari 112 tree.
Qatari 112 tree, contact Bahrain approach on 127.85. Good day.
127.85, Qatari 112 tree. Goodbye. Bahrain approach, Qatari 112 tree, 3,600 feet.
Qatari 112 tree, Bahrain approach altimeter 29.44, radar contact continue. Qatari 112 tree, contact approach on 124.95. Good day.
124.95, Qatari 112 tree. Goodbye. Approach Qatari 112 tree, 4,200 feet.
Qatari 112 tree, approach altimeter 29.44, radar contact continue.
Approach Qatari 112 tree. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
Qatari 112 tree, approach. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Cleared through Charlie airspace, Qatari 112 tree.
Qatari 112 tree, contact Bahrain Center on 126.7. Good day.
126.7, Qatari 112 tree. Goodbye. Bahrain Center, Qatari 112 tree, 6,100 feet.
Qatari 112 tree, Bahrain Center, altimeter 29.44, radar contact continue. contact Doha approach on 125.125. Good day.
125.125, Qatari 112 tree. Goodbye. Doha approach, Qatari 112 tree, 6,400 feet.
Qatari 112 tree, Doha approach altimeter 29.4 tree, radar contact, continue.
Sim rate 1.
This is Gentleman from the flight safety captain speaking. Very shortly beginning our descent. Now we trust you've enjoyed the flight. Thanks for choosing to fly with us. On behalf of myself and the crew, we'd like to wish you a very pleasant stay and indeed a very safe onward journey. And we'll see you on board again very soon. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we've now commenced our descent, we require that you return to your seat, ensure that your hand baggage is either restowed beneath your seat or in the overhead lockers, your tray table and seat backs are in the upright position, and your seatbelt is securely fastened. Thank you.
بالنظر إلى أننا بدأنا في الهبوط، نطلب منكم أن تعودوا إلى مقاعدكم وتتأكدوا من أن أمتعتكم اليدوية مخزنة إما تحت المقعد وإما في الخزائن العلوية، وأن منضدة الصينية مطوية ومثبتة، وظهر المقعد في وضع قائم، وحزام المقعد مربوط بإحكام. شكرا.
1000.
Tower Qatari 112.
Did you have further flight tape? Captain speaking.
Southeast 1000.
Very shortly beating our descent. We trust you've enjoyed the flight. Thanks for choosing to fly with us. On behalf of myself and the crew, I'd like to wish you a very pleasant stay and indeed a very safe onward journey. And we'll see you on board again very soon. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we've now commenced our descent, we require that you return to your seat, ensure that your hand baggage is either restowed beneath your seat or in the overhead lockers, your tray table and seat backs are in the upright position, and your seatbelt is securely fastened. Thank you.
بالنظر إلى أننا بدأنا في الهبوط، نطلب منكم أن تعودوا إلى مقاعدكم وتتأكدوا من أن أمتعتكم اليدوية مخزنة إما تحت المقعد وإما في الخزائن العلوية، وأن منضدة الصينية مطوية ومثبتة، وظهر المقعد في وضع قائم، وحزام المقعد مربوط بإحكام. شكراً.
Center, Qatari 112 tree flight level tree 0.
Air France 1182, contact Tehran Center on 126.9er. Good day. Qatari 112 tree Bahrain Center, radar contact, continue. Going to 126.9er, Air France 1182.